Last Minute Fantasy Scramble starts in 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Last Minute Fantasy Scramble. I know it's been some time since we've been on the air, but we're glad to be back, and we are ready for Week 13. And this is a big one. For most of you out there, this is the last week of the regular season, fighting for those final playoff spots, fighting for those bye seeds, like fighting for whatever you need to get into the playoffs. So, let's get started by talking about the only logical place to start, and that's Wednesday afternoon football. We got Bobby, we got Bud, we got John. Bobby, what do you think? How do you feel those Baltimore Ravens did on Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like they had so many players out from COVID, and then, the game got postponed like 3 times, and it kind of drew out the whole week. And I was sweating bullets personally because I was playing against the Steelers defense and Benny Snell, and, when they started off with that pick six and all that, I mean, you kind of expected that because they were so shorthanded. But you know what? They played great defense, and they kind of limited the Steelers, and they actually made the game a little bit interesting, and they almost had a chance to win. If they had gotten that stop, maybe they would have had a chance. But fantasy takeaways, Hollywood Brown catches that 70-yarder from Trace McSorley after Robert Griffin III goes out with the hamstring. I mean, I still wouldn't trust it. I mean, we were waiting for that all year. I don't think I would trust that anytime soon. I still would leave Hollywood on the waiver wire in more shallow leagues. Gus Edwards, 9 carries, 10 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, with Ingram and Dobbins coming back, I don't think Edwards is going to be much of a factor outside of being a handcuff. I mean, that's really it from a fantasy perspective for the Ravens. For this upcoming week, Lamar Jackson's expected to come back and start. J.K. Dobbins, I know, Bud, you stashed him in a few leagues. I have him stashed. He received in bulk of the workload before they played. It feels like forever since they played, but if you have to assume that they're going to continue to give him that workload, and if they do, he's a really nice potential league winner down the stretch and a great matchup against Dallas. And that's really all you can trust in Baltimore. I like their defense down the stretch as well. They play Giants and Jaguars in weeks 15 and 16, and they might end up trying to make a playoff push. So that's really it. I mean, I was kind of impressed the way they played, though, being so shorthanded. They kind of held their own up there against Pittsburgh.
All right, speaking of Pittsburgh, John, what do you think of how the Pittsburgh Steelers played?
It's interesting. They're definitely an interesting team to watch. Without James Conner, you definitely figured they would rely on the passing game a lot more. And even with James Conner in there, they do seem to throw the ball. Ben threw the ball 51 times. I don't really know if his stats 266, 1 touchdown, 1 interception came more so just from the sheer volume of him, or him actually performing well. Not really sure. I'm still not really sold on Ben, but when you throw the ball 51 times, you're going to find something. Benny Snell in relief of James Conner played pretty solid, though. 16 for 60 and had a little active in the passing game. The big thing to note, though, Deontay Johnson, absolutely target monster. Him and Ebron, 13 and 11 targets respectively. That's the one thing, like with so many passes being thrown, they definitely share the wealth. He had like four different receivers had 6 or more receptions. Juju 8 for 37. He had that short touchdown as well. Played pretty solid on defense as well. Obviously had that pick 6. Benefited from Robert Griffin III. Obviously with Lamar Jackson in there, it's a completely different thing. But this Pittsburgh defense is still very solid, very 100% rosterable, and should just be if you have them, you got to start them. They're too good right now. Definitely one of the better teams. Anything you'd like to add, Bud?
Yeah. The Steelers defense is just gonna. I think it's just gonna take a minor step back. I think this is more long term in terms of like actual playoffs, not fantasy playoffs. But Bud Dupree going down with the ACL tear is like pretty devastating for their defense. He's definitely one of their best players on that front, and him going down is just going to make, like, if they were to face like a Kansas City or something, it's going to make that a lot harder. But if you own any of the wide receivers for the Steelers, you're pretty happy that Ben's just slinging that ball. He's slanging it. 51 targets is crazy. Like that's one of the takeaways I got from the radio the other day. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's throwing the ball 50 times." I'm like, "What?" like that's crazy for like Ben Roethlisberger to throw that many times. Like, bro, that's like Justin Herbert numbers. So
51 times, and they were winning almost the entire game. Like that, it's insane. They were in the lead.
yeah, I mean, so even if you roll with a Juju Smith-Schuster, you're getting 11, 12 points. Oh no, you're getting more because he had a touchdown too. So, but even like Deontay Johnson's getting 12, 13 points. Like if you're in a PPR, you cannot complain with those numbers. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, for
Chase
sure.
Claypool had a pretty decent day too. So that's really good. And just real quick on the other side, like the Ravens, if they don't get these guys back from COVID and start, I don't know, man. Harbaugh's got some like work to do, man, because this is just ridiculous. They're in trouble, and there are so many other wild card teams ahead of them right now that you're last year you were a contender. Now you're like on the outside looking in.
All right. Well, it is past 11:30, which means injury news starting to roll in. Some of the big names. Allen Robinson is officially active for Week 13. There were some question marks this week during practice, but it's good to hear he's coming back. Other big names. Julio Jones is officially listed as active, which means that he will be able to participate in that matchup against the Saints, which is huge for Matt Ryan, huge for Julio Jones, huge for the Falcons. But that's quite the interesting game, wouldn't you think, John? Why don't you discuss it rapid fire style?
Rapid fire? Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's going
like the Saints this week. We're going real quick today. Taysom Hill's probably his last stand, as Drew Brees will be bouncing back to be coming back from his injury next week against Philadelphia. Taysom Hill's last stand will probably get a couple rushing touchdowns. Not too many passing yards. We'll see what happens. Definitely taper expectations for Kamara, Michael Thomas, any of those position players from the Saints. And on the Falcons side, definitely start them all. Give me Ryan, give me Julio, give me Ridley.
All right, Bud, let's hear Lions at the Bears.
No, nobody wants to hear about this. No, but so you have the Lions, with their coaching change, so things might be a little different there. But I mean, the offensive coordinator took over, so I don't see much changing. Matt Stafford, you might be able to start him in the 2 QB league. Otherwise, Hockenson is a surefire start. Bears, Montgomery, Allen Robinson is going to play, so get him in. And that's pretty much all I got on that.
All right, Bobby, we got the Browns and the Titans.
This actually might be one of the more interesting games on the slate today. I love both running games. I think both can finish in the top 5. Derrick Henry is the number 1 running back for me this week, easily. The Titans defense hasn't been great as well, so I like the Browns. You can start Landry as an upside wide receiver 3 in PPR leagues. I still don't trust Baker, however, but I do expect some points in this one. I love A.J. Brown as well and Corey Davis. Tannehill can be counted on as a streamer here, and I think could be a high-scoring game with no weather concerns.
All right, John, we have the Raiders at the Jets.
Yeah. Start every Raider you can. Ruggs going off today. The other 2 receivers, Waller, everyone. Derek Carr, great streaming pick if you need a quarterback, if you're maybe a Brady owner. Devontae Booker filling in for the injured Josh Jacobs has popped off pretty well in his games without when he's been the feature back. Look to do it against the Jets as well. Jets, don't start anyone. Maybe Sergio Castillo because he's kind of a good kicker, but other than that, do not start a single Jet.
All right, Bud, we have the Jaguars and the Vikings.
So Jaguar side of things, J-Rob is a surefire start. If you're not starting him, then you got problems. Otherwise, DJ Chark is back in the mix, so you can definitely start him. Other side, Dalvin Cook, Thielen is going to be back, and Justin Jefferson is so awesome. Get him into your lineup, start him. Surefire start every week going forward.
All right, Bobby, we have the Bengals at the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, looks like Tua's going to get the start. So you downgrade Parker. You could still get away with starting him if you need to. But I don't really see any other startable options in this game besides the Dolphins' defense. Brandon Allen starting again. Bernard hasn't been very impressive. They've given touches to the guys behind him as well. That offensive line's decimated. Boyd and Higgins you can roll out there as low floor wide receiver threes. But nobody else really you could start, I don't think.
All right, John,
kind of
we
looks
have
like
the
a snoozer.
Colts at the Texans.
How do the Texans respond with the loss of Will Fuller to suspension? Definitely a tough defense to go against with Indianapolis. Indianapolis, Michael Pittman could be a sneaky good start. Texans do give up a lot of receiving yards, not very good on defensive side. Sean Watson got to roll him out regardless who they're playing against. Going to be interesting to see. We're going to see a lot of Brandon Cooks, maybe some Kenny Stills. Should be interesting what happens there. Running game. I think David
All
Johnson
right,
is
Bud,
back
we
as
have
well.
the Rams at the Cardinals.
These NFC West games are chef's kiss, baby. I love these games so much. Now, keep in mind, this might be a heavy defensive game, but if it isn't, you can start your Jared Goffs, maybe. But the receivers, Cooper Kupp, you gotta start him, and be careful of the running back situation for that side. And the Cardinals, you gotta start Murray, you gotta start D Hop, and you could start Drake too.
All right, Bobby, we have the Giants at the Seahawks.
Wayne Gallman has been an RB1 since he took over. Freeman's out again, so I think you can trust Wayne Gallman with the workload that he's getting. And Sterling Shepard is a boring, safe wide receiver 3 in PPR league. But Colt McCoy is going to be the starter here, so I would not. I would fire up the Seahawks defense. And obviously, you like to start Russell Wilson, even though they've been going a little more balanced lately. So I love Carson as well. And obviously, Metcalf and Lockett are must starts. Ingram is a low end tight end 1 based on the landscape.
All right, John, we have the Eagles at the Packers.
Huge game for the Packers. I'd imagine Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, start them all. Like, the Eagles give up a ton of points, ton of passing yards. I don't anticipate them being able to stop Aaron Rodgers, especially how great he's been playing this year. Eagles side of the ball, Carson Wentz is more so of how long he keeps this job, because I feel like we're going to see Jalen Hurts soon. I feel like got to start Miles Sanders, Travis Fulgham, usual suspects on that side.
All right, Bud, we have the Patriots at the Chargers.
Justin Herbert, this guy has cracked 3,000 passing yards, and he's probably taking you your fantasy championship, right? So you could start him. Keenan Allen benefits from him. Hunter Henry, good tight end. All those guys. And you also have Austin Eckler. So this offense is going to start getting going towards the back end of the season. Patriots, not really a whole lot to like. If you're rolling with Damian Harris,
All right, Sunday Night Football, Bobby. Broncos at Chiefs.
I think this is a Chiefs blowout. K-Mac, I love that pickup of the Chiefs defense. I think they're going to roll tonight, but the Chiefs do not stop throwing the ball even when they're up. They've done that all year long. Patty Mack and the team is very matchup proof. Tyreek Hill obviously is the number 1 fantasy receiver so far, and I think he continues roll everybody, as well as CEH. I think he's going to play, so I like him as an upside running back 2 here. You could get away with Watkins as an upside flex here if you're desperate.
All right, John, Monday Evening Football. Football team at Steelers.
This game is sneaky interesting because Washington has been playing very, very well since Alex Smith took over. 1-2 in a row. They are granted two very cupcake matchups, but I do like them a little bit. No Bud Dupree, like Bud mentioned. No James Conner as well. But Washington has a sneaky good run defense. We'll see if they could stop Big Ben in the pass attack. I do like Antonio Gibson though, as a low end
Monday Night
running back
Football.
one.
Bills at 49ers. Bud, what you got?
Bills are on Monday Night Football. What universe am I living in? I am so excited. But they're going to Arizona instead of San Francisco. Josh Allen's going to unload on the passing attack. It's going to be great. Stephon Diggs, even Cole Beasley. Consider him for a flex play. Stay away from the running backs on that side. But you also have Raheem Mostert coming back for the 49ers. So consider starting
Tuesday
him.
Night Football. Cowboys at Ravens. Bobby, what you got?
Yeah, it's going to be a snooze fest. I think the Ravens, I agree with Bud that they're in trouble, but this week they're not. The Cowboys are just horrible. Their run defense especially is abysmal. Lamar Jackson looks like he's going to come back. So I love Lamar and Dobbins big time here. As for the Cowboys, you probably have to start Cooper if you have him. And you might have to start CeeDee Lamb as well, but I'm not super excited about that. As well as Zeke. He's still seeing the workload, so you got to roll him out there as well, but I'm not excited about it. I think the
And
Ravens
that
win big here.
is time. All right. John, any other game you want to take a little bit closer look into?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm always going to talk about the Rams. You guys know how much I love the Rams, love Goff, love Cup and Woods. This game, I know Bud said he thinks it's going to be a little defensive. I think it's opposite. I think both teams are just going to unload on each other. Arizona's got that great passing attack, great offense going with Kingsbury and Murray, and I don't anticipate that stopping. He might get in a little trouble with Aaron Donald running him down, but I think that we should see a high scoring affair, maybe like a 31-28 type game. Start them all. Give me everyone.
All right. So, Bud, what game do you want to take a closer look into?
Man, I haven't even thought that far. Let's see. Let's pick one. Let's go to Chargers and Patriots because I want to talk about the offensive side for the Chargers again. Because a lot of people have picked up, Justin Herbert in place of like maybe Dak Prescott or something, and it's helped save their season. It's incredible. Like this guy, like next year, going forward, he needs to be in the consideration for a good quarterback pickup because, like, you can even put him in, sprinkle him into the Russell Wilsons, the Kyler Murrays, and the Josh Allen tier of quarterbacks, and you might be able to sneak and get him like round like 6 to 7 round. Like it's just incredible, and if he's developing this kind of chemistry with Keenan Allen, who's just tearing it up right now, going forward, that's super promising. This guy is awesome, and now like you really we saw a little bit of what's possible when they played the Bills and with Eckler back. So you're almost certain that once everything gets going and everybody's coming back and is healthy, that the offense is just going to be super surefire. But I mean, and I honestly I think they could beat the Patriots. They've almost put teams away, like better teams. It's always been a close game. They always have a knack for losing in like the last minute. But and on that side, we're not starting Cam Newton anymore. If you have that in your mind, then you're probably on the losing side of your fantasy league right now. He's not startable. I'd say away. I don't even think he's going to be the quarterback on the Patriots after this season, because he doesn't work for Bill Belichick's system. But Damian Harris is a good back to keep an eye on. He's more of a flex play in my opinion. So you want to temper your expectations. I think he's very good against weak run defenses. So like that would be and this goes to another thing. Right now, you're not just playing the big names. Keep an eye. There might be a situation where you're benching certain guys to play other guys. Play your matchups because that's how you're going to win in the playoffs.
All right, Bobby, any last game you wanted to take a look into before we move ahead?
That Falcons Saints game, like it's hard to say what I don't know what the outcome's going to be because the Saints have been playing really good defense, but and when they last met they kind of dominated, but at the same time the Falcons are getting Julio back and they just looked like a completely different team with Jones on the field. So I mean I think this game has no middle ground. I think it's either going to be a crazy shootout or it's going to be like a defensive game. But I still think you have to start your guys, like obviously Ridley and Jones, and you can, I guess, try to start Hurst and Gurley, even though I'm not excited about it. And then for the Saints, I think you can get away with starting Hill as well, and Michael Thomas you have to, and Kamara. I just think it could go either way here, and it's kind of an intriguing game. So we'll see what happens, but.
All right, so we do have a little bit more injury updates coming out. DeAndre Swift is inactive for the game against the Bears. That maybe opens up the door to an Adrian Peterson. I know that Swift has been battling with his concussion questions for a little bit now, and now he is out with an illness, so not really sure what's entirely going on there. There are rumors about him being limited for today's game. But now with him being out, that makes it a lot easier when trying to figure out whether to start him or not. Yeah, any other injury news or information that stands out to you, Bobby?
Well, we just saw no DeAndre Swift is out. And then if you were thinking about Benny Snell / James Conner, James Conner's unlikely to play tomorrow night. So you could use Snell for another week if you need the running backs help. And then obviously we saw Julio's coming back. But those are some big ones that I've seen. And then obviously for the Dolphins, looks like Tua is going to start as well. And then we know that Jacobs is out. And if I were a Devontae Booker owner, I would hold him. I think I might hold him for the rest of the season, honestly, because we don't know how severe this injury could be for Jacobs. They did work out Spencer Ware to bring him in for a workout, and that might say maybe Jacobs might have a multi-week injury. And if so, I think Booker could be a nice little potential piece for you if you need some extra running back help for the playoff stretch. But other than that, I'm not really seeing anything else too crazy here.
Yeah, and speaking of the Dolphins, you were mentioning earlier, Salvin Ahmed is not going to be playing for Week 13. Myles Gaskin is going to be playing, so that might actually be a good choice against that Cincinnati Bengals. So he definitely may be someone to take a look at. Now, I believe it is about that time that we are going to start answering some of your questions. And, John, we're going to start with you. Brandon asks, Kamara, James Robinson, Chris Carson. You get to pick two.
Pick two. So I think we're rolling out. I mean, you have to start Kamara. Like we've talked about it before. Like you spend the capital to get take your number one overall pick. At the end of the day, you have to start him. And I guess Atlanta, that is a tasty looking matchup as well. Then I think you roll out. It's close. It's toss up between I would say it's a toss up between James Robinson and Chris Carson. Probably lean Carson just because of the rushing volume. So yeah, give me Kamara and Carson.
All right, Bud. Klein asks, full PPR, play two of the three. Kupp, A.J. Brown, Chris Carson.
A.J. Brown and Chris Carson. So two of those three?
That's correct.
And it's PPR. I'm going with the wide receivers here, just simply because Carson's coming back, but we don't really know that he's 100% still. And just the amount of volume that Kupp gets and the big playability from A.J. Brown, I like those guys a lot better. So I'm rolling with those two.
All right, Bobby Diego asks, Boyd or Higgins, non-PPR.
Yikes. I'm going to go with Higgins. And yeah, I'm going with Higgins.
All right, John. Sadiq asks, Drake, Gibson, Montgomery. Pick two.
Drake, Gibson, Montgomery. Yeah, I'm staying away from Drake against the Rams. If I'm attacking the Rams, I'm going to attack them through the air, which I think they should do, and he doesn't get it very active in the passing game. So I guess that gives me Montgomery and who was the other one?
Gibson.
And Gibson, yeah, Gibson. I think Gibson's a sneaky good play this week. I do like him. He's running really well, even against the Steelers. But like I said, the loss of Bud Dupree, that is big. So Gibson and Montgomery.
All right, Bud. Adam asks, Cousins or Taysom Hill?
Oh, man. A lot of people might go with Taysom Hill, but I'm going with Kirk Cousins. He's been playing pretty decent lately, and with Thielen and Jefferson there, his value is just like super high. So, I'm going with Cousins here. It's no question for me. I don't care that the Saints are playing the Falcons. So give me Cousins.
Right. And we do have a second part to that question.
Okay.
And it's a defense question. Bears versus Detroit or Chiefs versus Denver?
I wouldn't do Chiefs against Denver in my opinion. Their defense has gotten better, but Drew Lock is back, and if he gets going, if he gets going with like Hamler and Jerry Jeudy, things could get dicey really quick. And I mean, they have a bigger opportunity to score. Now the Bears' defense is their defensive line is pretty decent, and if your defense scoring rewards you for sacks, there's definitely potential for that, and there's definitely potential for a lot of turnovers on that front for strip sacks, fumbles. So I would consider going with the Bears in this case.
All right. So this next question goes to Bobby. Kevin asks Murray or Watson today.
Ooh, that's another tough one. I'm gonna side with Murray. I think both still are good options. You have to roll them out. Watson
I'd
is a
love
little
to have those
concerning because
options.
what's that?
I'd love to have those options.
Me too, but with that shoulder with Murray, I think that's been limiting his rushing ability a little bit. But I think the Cardinals need to realize that when he runs the ball for over 50 yards, they have a really good record when he does that, and that's the key to their offense. So, and like John said, it could be a potential shootout here. I think the Rams are going to roll on offense, so they might have to keep pace. And so I would go with Murray. Watson is concerning a little bit only because the tougher matchup. The Colts are getting healthier on defense, and his splits without Will Fuller is a little bit lower. It's somewhat significantly lower than with Fuller in the lineup. So I mean, I think you still start both, of course, but I would lean Murray there.
All right, John. This next question comes from Bennett. Start 2: Montgomery, Dobbins, Claypool.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I lean Dobbins against Dallas. It's too good of a matchup. And then we talked about it earlier about just how all the Steelers receivers are basically startable at this point. So Claypool and Dobbins I like this week. Those three.
All right, so that is Dobbins and Claypool. All right, this next question comes from Jerome, but I'm going to let you answer this one. Flex half PPR, Ridley, Booker, or Boyd?
Ridley, Booker, Boyd. That's easy. That's Ridley. All day.
All right. So Bennett asks Raiders or Packers defense, Bobby.
Yeah, I love the matchup with the Raiders, but I'm still going to go with the Packers at home against the Eagles. Packers have had at least 2 turnovers in every game since since week 8. So I love Green Bay's defense this week against the turnover-prone Eagles. But the Raiders I still think is a good option, but I don't think they have the best defense anyway. So both good options. I'll take Green Bay.
All right, John. PJ asks Carr or Cousins.
Ooh, that is definitely a good one. I'm starting Derek Carr against the Jets. I think they just absolutely torch him. It's much. I mean, Cousins against Jacksonville is another solid one. You got 2 serviceable quarterbacks against probably the 2 worst teams in football. I'll lean Carr though. I like his. You know what? Yeah, I'll lean Carr. It's close though.
All right, this is also a 2-parter. He also asks Gallman, Taylor, D. Johnson, PPR start 2, and there were way too many D. Johnsons for me to know which one you're talking about.
Oh God. Yeah. I'm gonna assume. Okay, wait. What are they? It's Taylor.
Gallman, Taylor, and D. Johnson. How are we supposed to know which Johnson it is?
It's got to be Duke, but yes, there are 3 D Johnson.
David Johnson. David Johnson's active this week too.
Oh wow, I thought he was still out, but yeah, that's.
Yeah,
it's Deontay Johnson.
Oh, sorry, Deontay Johnson. We already talked about that one. He had 13 targets last week. Give it to me again, especially against Washington. So Deontay Johnson and Gallman. I like Gallman against the Seahawks. Seahawks gave up a lot.
All right. And Deontay Johnson, if it's him.
Hope so.
All right, so this next question comes from Zach. Bud, Ryan Tannehill or Taysom Hill?
Man, I can't believe people are rolling with Taysom Hill. I get it. But for me it's gonna be Ryan Tannehill. I'm just going with surefire quarterbacks that are capable of throwing touchdowns, not running them.
All right, Bobby Brandon asks CEH or David Johnson.
Well, I think that all depends on your situation. If you're favored and you want to play it safe, I think David Johnson's a safer option. He's a low upside, but also I think a high floor guy. He's at double-digit points in every game that he's played so far, so he's not going to win you the week, but he probably won't lose you the week. As for CEH, I think he has a lot higher upside, especially in this matchup, but he also, I think, has a lower floor as well. So it's really how you're feeling. I'm personally a guy that usually always likes to chase the high upside, so I would go CEH there because he is expected to play.
All right, John. Michael asks flex half PPR, Zeke or Devontae Parker?
Yeah, I think you got to go Parker here. I'm staying away from Zeke this week myself personally, even though he was my first round pick. But I'll go Parker even with Tua starting at the moment.
All right, bud. Nick asks Mostert or Booker PPR?
That's a good one. I like that. Man, I'm gonna go Booker, just simply because of who they're facing and uh, the fact that he's actually played most of this season. Um, I'm really like cautious about guys that are coming back off of injury because it just takes one thing to re-aggravate. I think Booker is a safer play. As you know, Bobby just said. I mean, if you're going for like upside, and we know what Mostert is capable of, but at the same time, like if you want like guaranteed points and somebody that even with Josh Jacobs there was scoring and getting some work. Booker is a good option. So I don't think you could go wrong either way. I just think that Booker would be a safer play for you.
All right, Bobby, you got your pen and paper ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Austin asks start 3. James Robinson, Miles Sanders, David Johnson, Antonio Gibson, or Nyheim Hines?
Good luck.
Yeah, so obviously J-Rob, we're gonna put in there. And then I love Antonio Gibson as well, even though it's a little bit of a tougher matchup. And then I will go with Miles Sanders as well. I'm gonna bench DJ and Nyheim Hines.
All right. So, John, this next question is for you. David asks PPR, Juju or Boyd?
Yeah, I'm going Juju here. Better quarterback situation, better offense, better volume.
Part 2, Ertz or Hayden Hurst? Ertz or Hurst?
Is Ertz active this week, or is he
He is
externally
active.
protected?
Yes, he is.
He is active. I still think you stay away from Ertz. You got to go Hurts. Hurts had a good week. I think he does get a little boost with. I mean, Julio does take away from that, but I just can't trust. I don't trust Ertz. He has to prove it to me more.
All right, bud. PPR, Hunt or Booker? Got a lot of people following this one.
I'm gonna go Hunt here. Both of those guys have been getting considerable work, even since Chubb has come back. I said it before. I'll say it again. You got to treat both of those guys as like RB1A and 1B. Kareem Hunt is the 1B. But I think he's going to get a fair amount of work. The Browns are really firing on the running game right now. But yeah, I lean Hunt in this case.
I'm curious to hear your guys' opinion on this too. Bobby, who would you take?
I think I'm going to take Booker because of the volume. I think Hunt has a great matchup as well, and I think you still have to start him. But I just love Booker's volume, and the game script could potentially be pretty good for the Raiders. So I'll take Booker there.
All right, John, you're breaking the tie.
Breaking the tie. I'm breaking it with Booker. Like we said, like last time, when he's been the feature back, he absolutely pops off. Last time was against Denver, 16 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I mean, the Jets are nowhere near as good as that Denver defense. I guess Denver really isn't even a good defense anymore anyway. But the Jets aren't even close to Denver. And I think that Booker sees a ton of volume this week.
All right, Bobby. Scott asks Antonio Gibson versus Steelers or Devontae Booker versus the Jets. 1 point PPR.
That's actually a really tough one. Normally, I'd say Gibson in any circumstance, but the matchup's a little bit tougher. So I think I would go Booker over Gibson here.
We're
because
loving
of the tough
Booker this
matchup,
week,
but
aren't we?
Yeah, no, with this one, I definitely agree with. I know I agree with Bobby.
It's tough.
I think you lean Booker just because of the matchup. But
Yeah.
again, like it also depends on like where you sit like in your season. Are you just playing to play at this point? Are you are you pushing for a playoff spot? Because if you're pushing for a playoff spot, the high upside guy is Booker. If you're just wanting to maintain where you are or just not lose points, I think you go Gibson just to play it safe. I feel, but I don't know. But I'm starting Booker, so give me all Booker.
All right, John, you tell me, Gordon or Zeke?
God, Melvin Gordon, is that who we're talking here?
I hope so.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think
No
we're talking Josh
Gordon
Gordon.
yet.
I don't think Josh Gordon can play yet. Melvin Gordon against the Chiefs. It's not bad, but I'm not really liking it. Definitely don't like Zeke though. God, these are awful. Flip a coin. Nah, give me Zeke at the end of the day. Like I've always said, like we've all said, just like he's your top pick. You got to go with him. Roll with the punches.
All right, bud. Jacob asks, should I start Sterling Shepard or Alan Lazard, half-point PPR?
Man, that's a toughie. But it gets made a lot easier the fact that Daniel Jones isn't there. Lazard being back has pretty much shown he hasn't really lost a step. He's been receiving balls, and I think he's due for a big game. It's usually Devontae Adams is getting the lion's share, but I think that Lazard is capable of having one of those games, and he has. So I would go with him.
All right, Bobby. Scott asks, Cup versus Arizona or Lockett versus Giants, 1-point PPR.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyler Lockett here. For later reasons that unless someone takes him, he's gonna be my breakout pick, and I'll explain why when I make the
Spoiler
pick. So I'm
alert.
gonna take Lockett.
All right, so Suzanne asks, Chark, Aguilar, or Crowder, standard. That's for you, John.
I'm staying away from the Jets, so Chark and Aguilar. As much as I don't even really like DJ Chark, just don't start a Jet. Please don't.
Well, we're picking one, Chark or Aguilar.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was pick 2. I'll go Aguilar. Like the matchup against the Jets.
All right, Bud. Gordy asks, Booker, Hunt, Drake, pick 2, PPR.
Booker and Hunt for me.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one.
Mhm.
All right, so this next question comes from Tanner and Bobby. This is for you. Full PPR. Wow, this is a long one. All right. It's a 3-parter, I guess.
Ooh.
First part. All right, you got your pen and paper?
Let's do it.
Beasley, Lazard, Pittman Jr., or Amari Cooper?
You were breaking up a little bit, so I had Beasley, Lazard, Pittman, and Amari Cooper.
That's correct.
And how many do you need?
Just pick one.
Just one. I'm gonna go with Michael Pittman Jr. here.
All right. So, also, I have Chubb, need my RB2. Gaskin, CEH, Booker, or Gordon?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Devontae Booker there.
All right. Out of the remaining wide receivers, running back, who would you flex?
Oh wow,
Gaskin.
wow.
Gaskin
So this
Yeah.
guy's having you set the whole lineup.
I'm gonna take Gaskin.
We need,
I'll
to start
flex
char-
Gaskin there.
we need to start charging for questions like these. Like, be like,
We
you want us to
should.
say, you want us to set your lineup? Send it in and send me and Venmo me $5.
Exactly.
All right, now who does he start at kicker? All right,
Oh,
this is the
God.
list of available kickers. Are you ready?
Oh man,
No, I'm
Are you
kidding.
serious?
No.
I was gonna say, I'm like, yo, if this guy is asking kicker questions.
that's it. He's done.
All right, we have time for just a few more questions. John, Zach asks, Hurst or Randolph?
I think I still start Hurst. Honestly, he should still see his nice target share that he's been getting lately. So I like Hurst.
All right, Bud. Dylan asks, Booker or Gaskin? So many Booker questions.
Everyone.
And they all end the same way.
Booker. Well, I got one for you guys. Chark or Booker in flex?
PPR?
Yes.
Booker.
Yeah, I'd go Booker there too. Man.
All right, Booker or Derrick Henry?
Oh, Henry.
Booker.
Come on,
Booker.
you can't put
Booker.
Booker.
All right. So Preston asks, I forgot who we're at. Bobby. Preston asks, what? What kind of question? All right. 1, Cooper. 2, Gaskin. 3, Beasley. I guess
What?
choose one of them.
I mean, that seems similar to the question from before, but yeah, I'm still going to take Gaskin here because of the volume, and I just have a hard time seeing Cooper's upside against the Ravens. So I'll take Gaskin.
All right, we have time for 3 more questions if we run through them quick. So, John, Silas says, thoughts? Standard scoring, 10-man league. Would you make any changes? Tyreek Hill and Ridley at wide receiver. Gallman and Montgomery at running back. Woods at flex. Hines and Booker on the bench. Uh-oh.
Standard scoring. I think maybe you do Booker over Gallman. That's the only thing I would think of. Because I think, yeah, that's the only thing I would say would be the change. Booker over Gallman, if anything. Get Booker in the lineup this week.
Gotta get Booker in. All right. So next we have Bud. Jeremy asks, pick 2, Jamal Williams, James White, Tim Patrick.
Good luck.
See them one more time.
Jamal Williams, James White, Tim Patrick. Pick 2.
Go with the running backs here. Williams and James White. James White has been getting a little bit of work lately, so that's kind of encouraging. And Jamal Williams is always getting work even with Aaron Jones there. So you're going to get points. I don't know how many you're going to get, but you're going to get points.
All right, we have time for one last question. Bobby, answer this. Start 2 running backs, Carson, Dobbins, and you already know who the third option is.
Booker. I love all 3 this week, but you have to start Chris Carson. He's getting healthier, and they're going more towards that balanced run offense like we saw from last year. So I'll go with Carson and Booker there, even though I love Dobbins as well.
All right. So the answer to every single question involving Booker is saying start Booker.
Start him.
Now, speaking of players to start in this super smooth transition, we are moving right into our breakout players of the weekend. Last week, we had 2 on our Thanksgiving special. For the Thursday night football, or I guess Thursday, all Thanksgiving football, we had our choices from those 3 games, or so we thought. We all picked our players, but it came down to Wednesday afternoon football when we finally got our answer, and that was my pick of Amari Cooper, who played Thanksgiving after all. Yet Bobby, on Sunday, pulled ahead and won his matchup with his pick of Wayne Gallman, which leads us into this week. Bobby, I think you've already talked about it, but who is your pick for this breakout player of the weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be Tyler Lockett. I'm not a big Lockett fan because of his inconsistency this season, but when I think this is one of his boom weeks. James Bradbury is going to be on Metcalf. Now, obviously, DK Metcalf is pretty much matchup proof, but I think he has a somewhat of a floor game here. And the way the Giants play defense, cover 3, I think Lockett's going to eat them up. And I think he has that breakout game. I'm looking about 8 to 10 receptions, definitely at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2, and 90 to 100 yards here.
All right, and I will go next. My choice, I really like his matchup this week against a defense that has been struggling more lately against the run, and that is Nick Chubb against the Tennessee Titans. I think that he is pretty undervalued this week for the numbers that I see him putting up, and I see him having just another phenomenal game this week. So next would be John. Who is your pick for breakout player of the weekend?
My pick, going against my Jets, I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs III. He's more of a deep threat right now. He hasn't had more than 3 receptions in a game, but I think he might set that personal best, and I think he's going to torch the Jets going deep there. Jets are banged up in the secondary, a lot of rookies there, and again, Jets are just a very, very, very bad team anyway. Gruden's shown he likes to air it out. Carr does like throwing it long to Ruggs. So give me Ruggs for like 3 or 4 receptions, 70 to 80 yards, and hopefully finds pay dirt at least once.
All right, Bud, close us out.
I'm going to go unconventional. I do every week. I'm going to go with a kicker.
What?
What?
No!
Yes.
No!
Young Hoku.
Yes.
Hoku.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
I got
Young,
that boy.
Young Wei Koo. Somebody dropped him on the bye week, and I
No.
scooped him up. And, bro, This guy's scoring more points than running backs.
He's a league
Look,
winner.
For sure. Absolutely. And I wish I had him all across the board, but I got him in my big league, and he's helped me the last few weeks because I've kind of had some guys on downturns. But I mean, he's only projected for 9 points in ESPN. He's gonna crack that. He's gonna get double digits. He has every week. He's the league's most consistent kicker. So let me get that.
Yes, I believe that he currently leads the league in scoring. So that is an interesting pick. We now have a kicker in the mix. That being said, that about wraps it up for us today. If you're watching us on Twitch, continue to do so there. Follow us on Twitch. We're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Please check us out, rate, review, subscribe, do anything to support us. We are headed into the playoffs next week, so we got some big shows lined up for you. Make sure to stay tuned. We will be on Tuesdays. We will be on Sundays, giving you the most up-to-date information and answering all of your questions. And now, with this being the last week of the regular season in most leagues, just wish all of you guys luck. Unless you're the few people who I still have yet to play to try to fight for those last bye week seeds. Besides that, make sure to keep on listening, keep on watching. And for John Viveris, Bud Stanio, and Bobby Digital Janice, I am Kevin K. Mac McCartney, and we will see you next time.